Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Learning Torah Lishma. A lot of women are wondering, and also lots of men, they're going on dates. This is people that, you know, um, you know, they have no divorces in the family. The parents aren't divorced, um, and there's somehow money however that may be, and they have good references, and they have someone who understands this whole, system, and they're able to get dates. Yes, it takes a little while each one, but they're able to get dates. And there's people literally that gone on 20 dates, 50 dates, 100 dates, meaning not dates, but 100. They've gone out with 100 people. There's people that have gone out with over 100. You understand? And they keep going out, And I'm guessing like once when someone meets 20, from 20 it never ends. Like if you didn't pick one out of 20, from there it's never going to end. I mean, unless all 20 were just ugly, you understand? Ugly, nasty people. After that, I don't know, there's no coming back from that. I'm saying, like, how will you ever say yes? I mean, you've basically seen everything, So, yeah, and I've had heard, sometimes you take them to a tzaddik that they really are machshav, they think, and very highly of them, and that tzaddik gives them a bracha, and then the next one they go out with, they marry because the tzaddik gave them a bracha. But really, without the tzaddik's bracha, they would keep on going and never get married, because just to put it simply, they're stupid. You understand? It's funny how the stupid people get dates, 1, 2, 3, and the people that are actually smart can't get. It used to be the opposite. Going back in time, used to be the smart people. The girls were more intelligent, and they saw erech and value, and he didn't have this resume that prevented people from meeting each other. So people of value were, girls, it was like, girls saw them a mile away. And it was, and the people who had very little value, which is sort of the people that get married today, that have it all easy and everything, the ones that are going on tons and tons of, dates, one person after the next. They also got married, but it was harder. But they also got married, and they got married young. Now, we've made a system that prevents the smart people from getting married and totally cripples them in the marriage area, which to a lot of smart people that completely destroys them. You understand? After going, a person could go easily 10 years without meeting any girls, and if they met someone, just some messed up person. You understand? Doesn't look nice, doesn't act nice, everything. Everything is wrong. You understand? And then you could, and then you have these people, it's just, stupid people, because after you go out with 20 different girls and you didn't say yes to any of them, you're stupid, let's just put it that way. 150, you're stupid. So, so all of a sudden you see that, you see that, so what's happening here? What is happening here? This is what's going on. What? This is this. So the resume. So then the stupid people, they get pushed to the front, and not even all of them, meaning only X amount. Because everything has to be perfect. There has to be money. You have to be in the right yeshiva. Everything has to be perfect. And And don't think BMG, Mir, Briss, they all are filled with stupid people that can't learn, can't read a Gemara, have no wisdom of life, don't know how to treat someone else, can't experience someone else's pains and pleasures, completely not someone who's of erech. You understand? And the whole Jewish nation is basically being turned into beggars and morons, unfortunately, by the system. You have like a so these stupid people that are going out with one girl after the next, and they're not either getting married, because a stupid person doesn't know. When a stupid person gets one or two, then if they know that they're only going to get one or two, so then they choose. That forces them to choose yes, and they don't now. But when they get tons of suggestions, they don't have the wisdom to understand what's the difference between one and the next. Is this a good girl? Is this a good boy or not? God forbid. They don't. So they just keep going out because they're just waiting to feel something, which in reality they should be waiting to think something, and it just never happens. You understand? Now the smart. So they're not getting married. Now this is the people that are actually getting on dates. I would be probably at least a third is probably not getting dates. Right, getting once a year a date, or every 6 months one date, that's not called getting dates. You understand? We're talking about people that could at least once a month get a date. At least. Meaning if the other one doesn't work out, then in a month they have another date. You understand? So we're talking about, I would say, to be the most conservative, I would say a third isn't. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was 50 or more percent. You understand? Now the smart people, right? Lots of times they're being suggested just girls that don't look nice. They're not healthy, nasty people, and they're actually being forced because they don't get a date very often. A smart person doesn't mean that he could read a Gemara. That's right. AI could read a Gemara. It means that they're a man, they're a woman, they're a full human being. So and I know a lot of people that were big Talmidei Chachamim that they couldn't get dates, and some of them got married later in life, and others were destroyed from it. They went crazy or insane. A lot of Talmidei Chachamim, people that were on the road to be leaders, to be real Talmidei Chachamim, a lot of them went insane and became crazy people. Unfortunately, it's like every other crazy person could just rattle off Torah. It's unfortunately the system does not respect the right things. It doesn't and it doesn't respect the people in it. It just glosses over them, and they just go full force in whatever getchka they have, whether it's making another building, whether it's getting a chasidus, whatever it may be, becoming a chacham. They just gloss over it. But I will say that the Sfardim and Hasidim they are more attentive, and Litvish seem to be the worst. It's funny how they think of themselves as the best, but this is unfortunately a big issue that's happening, and and it's 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 a it's really bad. And just as a side note, I heard there's a for the first time ever, there was a bomb that went off in Bnei Brak, and we know that there was tzaddikim that were, that said that, they said to some certain extent that bombs won't go off, and when there was different wars, certain tzaddikim, there was, said that no bombs will come to Bnei Brak, and it was amazing how bombs didn't hit Bnei Brak. I just heard from Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi, there was a bomb that hit Bnei Brak, took out a building. Maybe this is why. Because Hashem is unhappy. He is unhappy. And there's also, and that's one thing to make a mistake, but then to look down upon people who don't do according to your mistaken way of life, look down upon them, and to treat them as second citizens. These are Hashem's children, just like you're Hashem's child. They are. Hashem is very, very upset about this, and He's upset how you're treating people, how you're preventing people from getting married, and not allowing coffee dates. There's different types, There's ones that someone thinks of a girl for this boy or a boy for this girl, and they either meet in the shadchan's house, or they meet by the girl's mother's house, mother and father's house, or vice versa, or by a cousin, or by some older couple in the community. However it is, right? They meet, no resume. Someone thinks you meet. Now, I think people should, I think that's still lacking, because you're not, as a human, as a grown-up, you should be able to meet people, and you should be able to meet them outside of the confines, and you shouldn't be worried about things happening. You should be strong enough, and regular from Yid suggesting something, they're not suggesting some animal that's going to attack you on a date, you understand? So this is all nonsense, you understand? But even if you wanted to do it in someone's house, you could do it find somewhere to meet. Usually you go to the girl's house, but it could be the vice versa. It could be an older couple that makes a nice basement, or the house, and the people come and meet there. However it is, it works, But they meet, they physically meet, and then you could take it from there. You understand? But to take it from there before they meet, that's just a mistake, complete mistake, and that's what happens today. So that's just explaining, that aspect. I think it's very important. People somehow have minds are blocked when it comes to this. Now, getting back to what we were discussing, right? Why do usually it's girls, right? Because girls seem to, especially ones that look good, and they seem to they're both not getting a lot of dates, boys and girls, but girls seem to have more of a chance to get a date. It's a girl. The boys, if it wasn't for the parents, they don't really look into the girl. They just want to meet them. And when a girl gets a resume, she wants to look into everything before she meets the boy. You understand? In general, some girls getting smarter and saying, let me just meet him, But then the parents don't allow, and they say it's unsafe, and the moras come to them, and whoever it is, convinces them not to do that, like that's somehow wrong. And just the atmosphere is that means you're a lower level girl, and girls are this is how, unfortunately, bad people control girls, is you make them think that if you do what I say, that is honor, and if you do what I don't say, meaning if you go against what I say, that's not honor. covet is very important by girls. That's how that's their being. They have to learn how to use it properly, obviously. But I'm just saying, part of a girl is her stature. You understand? And a boy cares less how his stature is affected. A girl, her stature, she is very careful about her stature not being affected. And again, there's so much to discuss, so we try to hit on whatever Hashem is bringing to us. But getting back, so the girls are feeling they're going out with a lot of boys. Now, it could be that they don't have a proper way to see. Maybe they're thinking improperly, and that's why they think all the boys are not worth it to marry. It could, that could also be. But in general, let's just take a general. They're not complete. They're not so off. They're not completely off of understanding who's worthy to be married to, and they just seem that they're getting one stupid boy after the next. And the answer is yes. When you use the resume system, you will be getting one stupid person after the next. You understand? That teeny bit of wisdom that he has, that's all of that there is. There's not much there. He might know a lot in one area, but he's not a man. He's not or if it was vice versa, a woman. They're not, a complete human being growing balance. Now, balance doesn't mean that every single person needs to do the same X amount here and X amount there. No, the balance for each individual. There's Chaim Kanievsky balance, and then there's my balance, and then there's a girl's balance, and that type of girl's balance, right? You understand? But you need to find your balance. And these people are far from any balance in life. They might be loyal and things like that, but they're very far from balance. So what a girl senses as worth is a man that's balanced. You understand? And for a man, it's he also wants balance, but that's not as much important to him, but it's not one of the let's put it this way, it's the second or third most important thing to him. You understand? But there's things, right? Her beauty in his eyes is number one, right? And her second is her attitude, her being, her goodness. You understand? So, and the third would be her righteousness, and around there would be this also. So this is so the girl who keeps going out again and again, to a certain extent, she's using a system that brings forth stupid people. If you have a system, right, you go on these dating apps, right, and you have one that's free, and you have everybody on there, so also all the nobodies are there. Then you have another dating system that charges $1,000 a day. Ooh, so the people that are going to be on there are going to be much more quality people. Why? Charging $1,000 a day. Who could afford that? You have to be a high quality. You have to be a high quality person. You understand? Don't think it's so easy just to become rich. You have to become a man. You have to become a woman. You understand? So in this, this system is you're not focusing on all the important things are pushed aside. And it just stupefies everything. Does he want to learn full time? That's it. Is she rich? It stupefies everything. And instead of having a rich that you go in understanding a lot about life and all different aspects. And now when you look at the man, you see if he has it. And for a woman, and for a man, he looks at the woman and he sees if she has it. Instead, they're completely stupid about life. They might, a good chance they can't even read a Gemara. Maybe they could. Understand? And the girls probably never finished any Musa Sefer and not interested in reading Tanakh. They'll read all these novels but never read Tanakh. Just read it in English. And when it comes to, just saying names, you could skip over it, you understand? But read the Tanakh. Low level people, unfortunately. And the system makes it that any loser could get in. There's nothing there that you need to show. You just need to show that you're in BMG and you're learning full time. You could be a loser, you could be a monster. Doesn't make a difference. You understand? And the same, instead of understanding all these good aspects of a human being and all these things that you're going to need in marriage and for your kids and seeing if he has it, and it's important that you have to learn how to see things without asking, or in a side way. When you ask, you could talk about a topic and then you could see how the person responds, and you could figure out who they are in all these different, in all the important aspects of life, without ever, because you can't ask someone directly. You have to figure out, you have to learn how to do things indirectly. You have to learn how to spot things, how they treat the waiter, how they treat someone else, what type of words does they use, right? If he's using tons of very sweet words, you see that he's a sweet type of person. But if he's using regular words, then he's a regular, in that way. And when he's using, he uses these vulgar words, that means, just because he's not showing it to you, but he'll probably scream and beat you up. Usually by Orthodox, you'll never find a man beating a woman. Screaming could happen, maybe, but beating will never happen usually. And unfortunately, outside of the Jewish, the Orthodox world, beating does occur. Unfortunately, that's something that can occur, but you see from the person who they are. But that can only be if you meet the person. But if you have a resume in between, the resume makes you focus on other things, which makes a stupid person look like something of value. You understand? And therefore, the resume is switching between the smart, intelligent, good husband or good wife, and it's switching to the stupid people. And that's why people that use resumes, they could go out with 100. They're going out, who knows how many, 50, 20, and they don't, they're not smart even, so they can't figure out what the problem is, but they just don't feel it. They don't think it. It's just not it. And this is because that system it brings stupid people. You understand? That's what it does. And ruins the life of most other people, especially smart people. So this is extremely important to understand. If you want to get someone good, you got to stop with the resume. You have to start meeting people. The boy comes to your house. There's some older couple, and you find out if there's anybody that in the community, usually an older couple that would be happy that young dates could come and meet there. You understand? Once a person gets older and they can't go out with someone, it's already something wrong. But even when you're younger, you should not be a baby. You understand? But if you are, so you have to do that. But But, you go out for bowling, you go out for this, you go out for that. You understand? And I do think, I want to add something here. I do think that it's very important, especially for the men. Now, of course, you could send both ways, but I think it's extra, because for a man, this is more important by him than by a woman. A woman is more okay with not having this to to what she fully imagined to, but a man is less okay not to have this to what he fully imagined it to, and that is the beauty. So therefore, it's important that both of them, but especially that the man gets a picture. And you're gonna say, well, maybe they'll meet and maybe they'll get married anyway. Maybe. Is it a possibility? Yes. However, I would say probably 90 to 95% of the time that won't happen. You understand? It is a possibility. If it was something substantial, it would be different. But it isn't. And even if it is something substantial, you can't force a man to work like this. You can't force people. If it makes sense, there's nothing wrong with sending a picture. There's nothing wrong with it, and therefore a man could want it. Now, if you want to suggest maybe not to first meter, you could suggest it, but I wouldn't even go there, because it's a very low, especially today, in today's world, very low chance that if he doesn't like her in a picture, that he's gonna get over her looks once he meets her, even though she could be a wonderful human being. You understand? And there's all different men. There's men that like this, men that like that. And Hagufa, the fact that you say, I won't send a picture, you're saying that she's ugly. What I'm saying is there's men that like this and there's men that like that. And if he's a man that likes that, then he'll want to go out with her. You understand? And this is very important. I'm going to explain why. Because women are not, they get very emotional and very affected. And remember, for a woman, her honor is way more important than by a man. A man, he forgets about it the next day. A woman, her whole life, she remembers that she was rejected. That's how she looks at it. And for her to just go after one after the next and to be rejected 100 times destroys her being. For a man, he can't even remember the fact that he can't even remember all of them that he went out with. A woman, in her mind, she has a picture of each one that rejected her. You understand? And it's extremely damaging to her. Send a picture to the man. And if he likes her physically, there's a good chance that everything else will work out. You understand? But if he doesn't like her physically, there's a very good chance that nothing is going to work out at the end, meaning getting married. So just do that, and you're going to save the girls. First of all, you're showing that there's men that like different things, instead of saying that men only like this, so therefore we can't show them when it's the opposite. And we want to see, maybe he won't realize it. No. That's resume thinking. This stupid people thinking. There's men that like this. There's men that like that. You show her, but you don't ask. Meaning, it's like the stupidest thing. When a shadchan or someone wants to show you a picture of a girl to see if you're interested, they go and ask the girl. That's the same issue. She's getting rejected. We have to limit the rejection that women feel, also men, but women so much more so. We have to limit the rejection that she feels rejection. So you have to make it known to them that if you want me to help you get a shidduch, or you have a picture of the girl, you don't need to ask. You just show it. You understand? If you're official shadchan or shadchanit, you say, when you come to me, I'm going to be showing this picture and I'm going to see who likes you, and we're just going to get you onto a date with someone that likes you. You understand? And if she can't agree to that, you say, well, then we can't work together. There's many other shadchanim that, they work this other way, which is not so successful. Success doesn't mean that they don't get married, that people don't get married, which a lot of them don't, but it also means that the marriages, a lot of them, even if you do get married, get divorced or stay happily unmarried. Meaning, stayed married but unhappy. You understand? You have to get rid of this. Now, a resume, that's different. Meaning, if you're doing resume, then it would be proper because it has phone numbers and names. That makes sense that you need to ask. Again, I'm not for resume, but someone who is doing resume, that makes sense. You want to ask the boy or the girl, are you okay with someone getting this resume, which has numbers and this and that, and they're going to be talking about you? That's different. But a picture? Meaning, anybody that has a smartphone, anything, wherever you go in life, you know how many pictures, you know what the CIA has on you? They have your whole life in video. You understand? This is nonsense. Every smart camera, anything you have, they have access to it. You understand? I'm worried about pictures. It's nothing. A pic. It's a picture. It's a picture, and I think the picture is a bracha, because now you can see it's, if a man likes her look, that is, you're already 75% of the way there. You understand? Very high, 76% of the way there. Could be even higher. A lot of men, you're probably 90% there, and they won't even realize if you have issues. You understand? Is that good? No, men have to become adults and understand life. But you understand? But you ask the girl if you could show the picture, she feels rejected. You understand? Just avoid that whole thing. You want to avoid rejection when it comes to man and a girl, but especially when it comes to girl. And when you show the picture, there's going to be someone that likes her look. What do you think? Hashem put her in this world to be a loner? Well, why do you think of Hashem that he's so evil? I've met men that like fat girls. I've met men that like this thing, that thing. It's true that in general there's what men like, absolutely. Anybody that doesn't understand that is stupid. But you have to understand, there's millions and millions of people. And there are men that like other things. Or to them, they're indifferent. So you show them a skinny girl that looks good and like, oh, very nice. And you show them a fat girl, and they're also fine with it. You understand? You show them the picture and they're going to tell you. You understand? It's as simple as that. Now, it's also important that girls, when they get a picture, that it should be good. I see it now. There's a big push when it comes to men. Get the perfect picture. This, that. It's also important that boys should get a good picture. But it's not. But it's really not so important. You understand? But for a woman, it's extremely important. You should get makeup, everything. Make sure you want to present yourself in the best way possible. You understand? It's funny how I see all these boys, they have, the shadchan pushes them about getting a good picture, and the girls, they're afraid to say anything. And the girls, it's a horrible picture, but really she's a beautiful girl. She's smiling in a weird way, the camera caught it in a weird way. She's not dressed in any type of special clothing, so she looks very simple, and the camera shine is a bit high, and it just sort of blocks her, from you seeing her. All these different things. You understand? Get a good picture. It's extra important for a girl. And here's another big advice for girls. Smile. Very important. If you smile, you turn into a good person. Smile on the date. The boys are going to see that you're a good, healthy, positive person. Smile. If you need to get your clean teeth, boys should also get their teeth cleaned. But it's extra important for girls. Get your teeth cleaned. Do something nice with the hair. You understand? doesn't have to just be down. Maybe do something nice with it. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason that you should not put on your best front. You understand? When it comes to the picture, when it comes to meeting the boy, if you could do 100%, why do 76? That doesn't mean that you have like a prima donna, you have this like, you have servants carrying the dress coming out of you. Now, I don't know if you're come from a very wealthy family that's prestigious. I don't know, you could do that also. I'm not against it, but I'm just saying, you dress to a chasana, something close to that. You understand? Make sure you look good. You understand? That's 76%. The other 25 or 24% is also extremely important. And the man will be looking for that also, if he's smart enough. But you have to understand what the ikr is. And I'll just tell you the truth. That is the most important thing. Whether the man wants someone that's skinny or wants someone that's big, that what he considers beautiful, that's what he wants. There is no question about it. You understand? And that to him is, if that's missing, then all the other things won't amount to much. If you have that, and then you have the other things, then the other things are also very, very valuable. When it comes to marriage, you understand? When it comes to him marrying this woman, or vice versa. So, this is extremely important. Now, for men, it's very important for men. They shouldn't have a bad breath. Clean your teeth. If you can, do do something that makes your teeth white. You understand? Just simple. They have these things that you could put on your teeth. You can go to dentist, $300. They clean your teeth. Especially if you have very dirty teeth. If you smoke, make sure you don't smell like smoke. You have to be honest about that. And really, and if possible, see if you could take some time and get over smoking. It's very, very good. Smoking is it's very, very good if you could get over smoking. It's women are, for some reason they're a lot of women are okay with that when they don't realize once they get married the friction it's going to cause in the marriage. He needs to smoke. The whole place turns into her shaitel stinks. Her clothing stinks like smoke. It's horrible. You understand? Clean your mouth. Make yourself look nice. I know there's a lot of Hasidim that told you can't touch your beard. It's not true. Aaron HaKohen would groom his beard. It's in the Gemara. You think you're greater than Aaron HaKohen, you're stupid, right? And who would cut? Who would be cutting Aaron's hair? There's a good chance that it was Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu would groom him because he had the Shemen HaMishcha on his beard, and you're not allowed to, you can't cut the hair where the Shemen HaMishcha is, and so the Shemen HaMishcha magically, would go up, and then Moshe Rabbeinu would cut, but careful not to touch the Shemen HaMishcha. You understand? So, learn the Gemaras over there, but you got to be groomed. In the Gemara, it talks about how the Kohen had the Kohen Gadol has like a 3-hour, person that does a special type of cutting of the hair that takes many hours. Maybe it was 3 hours, maybe it was more. I remember many hours it took. He has to look, because he represents Klal Yisrael. Kohen Gadol would go to the kings and queens, and when you're representing Klal Yisrael, you got to be the best. But you have to know you are representing yourself. You're representing, and you got to look good. Your hair has to be cut properly. You could have a longer beard, but make sure it's nice. You understand? The payas are nice. Everything looks put together. Just because the hair grows here doesn't mean you have to have it all the way up here. You could shave some off, make yourself look a little more proper and menschlich. You understand? There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. Halachically, there's nothing wrong. Make sure not to you take out the lift and cut aspect of the shaver. If you don't know how to do it, you go to any Jewish store that sells electronics. They could do it there for you. Make sure you looked clean. And when you have a shirt and clothing, it's not just that you washed it. The shirt has to be fresh. That the sleeve, the end part of the sleeve, is clean on the top and below. You understand? It can't be all wrinkled. If you have tzitzis, always in general, sometimes you're working, so you have a second pair of tzitzis for working. You understand that because you don't want to get your good pair dirty, but you need to have a good pair of tzitzis that in general you wear outside of work, outside, when you're in a situation of that you get very dirty. A clean pair of tzitzis. I understand it could be expensive because every 3 months or so you need to switch it, but that's what you need to do. Clean pants, the shoes, clean shoes, and they're polished. You understand? They're not falling apart. And the shoe, underneath the shoe, shouldn't be that it's ruined on one side. You have to get, there's certain shoes that the sole is made in a certain way that it takes a very, very long time for it to rub out. You understand? You have to make sure you look proper. You have a vehicle, clean it, make it look nice. If you have an old jalopy that doesn't look nice, don't use that for the date. I understand it costs money to rent, but that's what you need to do. That's what you need to do. And if you have a vehicle that looks decent, especially if it looks nice, make sure to clean the dust. The women, they see the dust on the vehicle. Man gets in, he doesn't even realize it. The woman, her eye zooms in on the dust on the front shield, the front underneath underneath the glass on the front of your car. They see all that dust there. Clean up the dust. Take a wet towel. Take a towel, make it slightly damp, just go over it, clean the car. You understand? Clean the vehicle. Make sure, vacuum it. Make sure it looks nice. And when you're opening up in conversation, you either have interesting topics to talk about or interesting stories that happen to you that you could say. And you could also ask the girl, what type of topics interest you, just in a general sense. It gets you a little idea. Everybody likes funny things and this and that, most people at least. But you also want to get, you could also ask after speaking with her a little bit, or at the beginning, however your mind works, what type of topics interest you. You understand? And she'll probably go through a few, and one of them will be something that you're knowledgeable about, and you could talk to her about that. You understand? Important. Be respectful. Open the door. Then when she comes in, don't just leave it. Close it gently. You understand? Coming on the other side. If you have a car service taking you, open the door for her. Close it gently. Go in on the other side. You understand? Important when you're speaking with her, make eye contact. Meaning, this is a woman. Meaning, if that you might marry, you have to make eye contact with her. You're allowed to make eye contact. Nothing wrong. Make eye contact with her. You don't have to have the whole time zoomed in on her eyes, but you have to make eye contact. Look, she wants to see that you appreciate her, that you like to look at her. This is very important, and be respectful, be nice, and try to figure out this person. Are they a good, is this someone that I'm going to be happy to live with for the rest of my life? Are we going to be happy together? Sometimes the man will be happy having such a girl, but she won't be happy being with him. So the girl also has to look, because the man, it's hard enough just trying to figure out if you're going to be happy with this potential spouse. then to figure out if the other person is going to be happy with you, you should also look into that a bit also. Absolutely. You understand? That's also no reason not to look into that. It's very important. But you have to realize the focus is, am I going to be happy with this person? And then the girl, or vice versa, the boy, should be thinking, am I going to be happy? Don't leave it up to the other person to figure it out for you, or someone else, or your mother, or your father, or some Rebbitzin, or that. You got to figure it out for yourself. Am I going to be happy for the rest of my life with this man, with this woman? Do I feel that value there? You got to be honest. Now, at that same time, you have to understand, sometimes people, they have great ideas of grandeur, and they're really not in the position to get someone of that level, of that caliber. You understand? So that's a reality, you know? As much as a person would want it to be otherwise, that's a reality. You also have to look, will I be happy with them? You can't expect 100%. Is it 76? Is it 86? You understand? That also has to suffice. Now, if it's very low numbers, it's probably better not getting married, because the marriage won't last. You understand? You might not get married, but you probably will get divorced, especially today. In the way, unfortunately, we're so pampered and stupid that very high chance we'll get divorced and ruin our lives. So better to be single and never married than to be divorced and never married again. You understand? So, now if you think you could be 15, 20 years married to this person, that's something else. But most people, within 2 years, they get divorced. 3 months, that's it. It's over. Is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? You have to think. You have to, you have to do inner searching. You really have to work on yourself, so that the people that are eligible for you, they're at least a 76. You understand? There are 67. That it has to be a lot more than a little bit above, 50%. And you should learn how to be happy with what's attainable for you. So this is extremely important, and I wish you all the best. I really, really, really want the best for everybody. And I just say this, I don't really need all of this. You say these things and now people see it and they could attack you and things like that. I'm a person that's, I have strong shoulders. I'm not so, but at the same time, why put yourself in this situation? I'll put myself in this situation because I want to help Klal Yisrael. I'm not thinking about people in general. I'm thinking about individuals. If I come out with all this and I help one yid, I'm sure I'll help more than one yid. But if I can help one yid, we're not talking about a boy and a girl. If I can help one boy, one girl, that's enough. I'm sure we're going to help many with giving them the proper das, the proper knowledge of life. You understand? And them having an awesome, good life, and having a happy marriage, marrying someone that they're happy with, having a happy marriage. It's huge. It's all worth it. And we wish that for everybody, not just that we bless all of Klal Yisrael, not just in general, but each individual with the best marriage possible. Love you, and Hashem loves you more.